Good day everyone, I am Larsals, a partner of Angeline Bitara, and I am here to tackle about the key contributors of the foundation of curriculum in the humanistic and psychological aspect. First is Abraham Maslow. Abraham Maslow posits or proposed that the human needs is arranged in a hierarchy. First in the level of hierarchy is the physiological needs. These are the basic needs of a human. The food, the water, the shelter, and the clothing. So this must first be given to a child or a human before he or she goes to the next level, which is the safety needs. In the safety needs, a person must be able to feel that he or she is safe, stable, and or secure. For instance, in the simple example is a home. A home without the feeling or assurance of security won't be able to make you focus on the things that he or she must do, or the goals that he or she set. So next in the level is the love and belonging needs. A person always need the love and belonging in certain aspects. For instance, you need the love and belonging of your parents. You want to feel that you belong in the certain group of people, your friends, in the classroom environment, and even in the society. Once you acquire that, you will next have the esteem needs. Esteem needs says that you or he or she needs to first acquire the self-respect or self-esteem, self-confidence that he or she can do things that he or she wants. So after you acquire those needs and address it, we will now go to the self-actualization needs. Self-actualization is about the personal growth or fulfillment. Once you have your physiological needs, the safety needs, love, belonging needs, the esteem needs, you will now have the feeling of fulfillment and self-growth. Now, how this hierarchy of needs impact the foundation of the curriculum? So, we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five simple or short discussion for the impact of hierarchy of needs proposed by Abraham Maslow. So, first is the application in education. Educators use this framework to create supportive learning environment that cater to students' physical, emotional, and psychological needs. So, this says that the current curriculum support the needs of the students in order for them to be able to learn properly. For instance, one of the basic example of that is the recess or the break time. In every subject or in every curriculum, there must always be the break time wherein the student will be able to address or acquire their needs in that time break. So so that they can focus in the next subject. So next is the motivation and learning. Maslow's theory emphasizes the importance of meeting students' basic needs before they can focus on higher order learning. In the simplest example is that a student that is famished won't be able to properly learn. He or she will always think about the food, the drinks that he or she wants, and even his grumbling stomach. So, a child that won't be able to acquire his or her needs won't be able to focus in his or her studies. So, next is the holistic education. It says that Maslow's hierarchy of needs created a holistic education or multifaceted education. It varies and it have a varied and different kinds of way of learning or teaching. So it shifted education's focus to not just academic achievements but also the overall development of the students. In every curriculum, there is always these extracurricular activities wherein the students are allowed to explore their skills, talents, and even the hobbies they want. So it does not just focus on the academic state of learning. So curriculum design or the designation of different subjects or subject matters to the overall learning of the students. In the curriculum design, Abraham Maslow also influenced the curriculum design. It influenced by encouraging the inclusions of activities and programs that address various levels of needs. So the same as the holistic education. So it says that Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs encourage the curriculum heads or the people that proposed the curriculum that students must also be able to acquire or achieve his or her needs in order to learn. So, as I said earlier, there are programs and extracurricular activities that encourages students to fulfill their needs or their hobbies and talents and skills. So, next is the teacher training. The hierarchy of needs also influence how they train teachers or the future educators. Trains educators to recognize and address the different needs of students based on Maslow's hierarchy. So, there are different kinds of teacher trainings that helps students or future educators be able to point out the different needs of students and cater to them. For instance, a student learning ability is far behind his other classmates. This is where they train or teach the student teachers and the future educators to cater to that student's needs. They are trained to give them or allow them to focus on their own abilities. For instance, giving them activities or assessments that are up to their level. All of that are about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Aray ko! Another key contributor for the foundation of the curriculum in the humanistic and psychological aspect is Carl Rogers. Carl Rogers proposed a person-centered therapy or the client-centered therapy. So it is actually about the therapy and not about education. However, it was also applied or adapted to education. So there are core conditions in his person-centered therapy. So first is the congruence. Congruence is about being genuine or true. So a person that is teaching or standing in front of the students must be able to show that they are genuine or passionate to that teaching. They must be able to show that they are true with how they act, they speak, and they behave. So next is the acceptance. Acceptance is about accepting the students' different characteristics or individuality. So you must be able to accept that they are different from you. You must be able to accept that your expectations won't be able to be always achieved by those students. So after that, there is empathy. You must be able to know how to empathize with them. Students have different needs, abilities, and skills, as well as talents. You must be able to empathize to those that are lacking in that certain aspect, because you don't know while they are lacking that, they are actually improving in another subject matter. So these core conditions are applied to the education through or the foundation of the curriculum through different ways. So first is the freedom to learn. Students were allowed to be able to learn freely. Freedom to learn is about allowing your students to learn in their own way. For instance, a student's way of learning is through visual aids. By preparing these visual aids or the PPTs, the video references, you're allowing your students to be able to go with their learning style. So after that, there is also the holistic education. So in the holistic education, Carl Rogers influenced the curriculum by focusing on the overall development of the student, including emotional, social, and intellectual growth. So Carl Rogers proposed, or by creating these core conditions or the person-centered therapy, which is applied to education, he allowed the curriculum designers to be able to also focus on the students' emotional, social, and intellectual growth. So this is not only about the academic excellence of the student, but also the emotional and social. So in the emotional aspect, the student must be able to feel that they are also allowed to explore on their own. So, and the social aspect, students were allowed to group together, play with their friends and peers, and socialize with others. So aside from that, there is also the facilitative teaching. In the facilitative teaching, Rogers believed that teachers should act as facilitators of learning rather than authoritative figures. So when you say authoritative figures, these are the kinds of person that stands far above the student's level. So in Carl Rogers' point of view, as a person must only facilitate the student's learning. However, this should not dictate their learning styles. For instance, you are giving an activity. Facilitators of learning are those that allow the students to learn on their own, explore on their own, while still guiding them in doing those activities. So you are just going to help them when they are finding it hard to solve a problem, doing the activity, or they are asking for advice. So aside from that, there is also the experiential learning. Experiential learning. Students learn through experience and reflections. You are allowing your students to experience things and reflect on them. In science, experiential learning is absolutely important. For instance, you are allowing them to do an activity. Allow them to experiment on their own, test their hypothesis, and be able to gather their own data and arrive in their own conclusions, but also guiding them whether their conclusions are correct or not by allowing them to present you the evidences and data they have gathered. So, by this, you are now a part or doing the so-called non-directive teaching. Non-directive teaching approach encourages students to take responsibility for their own learning. In this way, there are many kinds of non-directive teaching. However, the most popular, the most used is the modular. Modular allows the students to learn on their own. The teachers only give the instructions, the instructional materials, modules, and lectures. Non-directive teaching encourages students to learn on their own by giving them the activities and the learning materials, and they are allowed to learn and reflect by their own styles, time, and ability. So, both Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow's theory or proposals influence the curriculum or the foundation of the curriculum by supporting the so-called student-centered learning. Student-centered learning is about giving or allowing your students to learn on their own, explore on their own, and achieve their needs, as well as giving to their own abilities. So, that would be all. Thank you.